Classic Talk.
Hi, Andy.
Hi, Tom. You're right.
Yes, I'm good. Really good. How are you?
Biggest news is I managed to get a hair appointment to get my hair cut. So,
Do you know, I might actually leave mine now. I did my beard myself and risked it and just leave the hair now. So, yeah.
it's turning into the beetle, that's the only thing. So
That's it. Starting to feel like the end is in sight, almost.
yeah, although to be honest, it's weird out there because you go to shops and stuff. It's just bizarre, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, there is that, and there's
I don't
always
know,
that one person who thinks that if they've got a mask on and you've got a mask on, they can lean across your trolley, which upsets me. But that's a different discussion for a different day.
yeah. And if you go and test a car or something, you're gonna be taking your what you call it, your hand gel with you, and gloves and masks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's in your own home. Things feel like they're moving a little bit, but
Little bit, yeah.
if you're being sensible and going out there and doing stuff, it starts reminding you that things aren't quite what they are. So.
Not quite. Speaking of progress, obviously you saw the Magnette turning over and starting briefly, which was a bit of an emotional moment, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's fab. That is fantastic because it's that thing that is that closest thing. At least if you don't get anything finished on the bodywork, the car will actually move under its own power.
So the cooling system's all going in now because obviously without that, it started the car very, very briefly because you don't want any problems with a rebuilt engine. But no, it was just, they said, do you want to hear it? And I was like, just nodded, yes, please. Really good setup they've got there, actually. Put your gloves on, put your mask on, nice distance, but it said you come in, you can see your car, and it was lovely. Speaking of the car, this has literally just arrived. You heard the dog. I think.
eBay.
Not quite. Is it really, really nice bloke who sends me ZA parts. He is like the ZA guru.
Is there an exchange of money, or does he just randomly send ZA parts?
There is an exchange of money, but although I did tell him I needed some fog light pigtails because my fog lights apparently were just cases, and he did give me those free of charge, which was really kind. I've made an absolute mess of getting him this. It's like Christmas, but better.
I always unwrap things really carefully in case I need to send them back.
That's a very good point. Well, I'm in it now. He's wrapped this up really well.
Yeah,
I feel guilty actually because he told me he posted these on Friday. It's now Thursday, and I emailed him yesterday just to chase them. Very politely said, "Oh, if just looking forward to getting my bits," and they're here. So he was going to get this email after I've received the bits, but never mind. You know what? I'll just use scissors. It's like this is going to get the most views of anything because unboxing videos on eBay do really well.
Just unbox lots of things.
Yeah. So what have we got? Oh, it's a new wiper motor. Look at that.
Wow. When you say new, is it new old stock kind of thing or refurbished, reconditioned?
Reconditioned. So I have the old one, which I need to. It's an exchange job.
All right, so you're going to send him that back.
So I'm going to send him this one back, and this is my new one. It's pretty obvious which is which. In fact, I'll take the wires off the old one just in case. So we have that, and we have new side lights. So
are they Lucas? Are they Lucas side lights? Are they?
It's a Lucas bulb on the packet, but I'm not sure what the side lights are, unless they're.
What lenses are they?
Do you know what? I have no idea.
Have you got lenses in there? Or are they like a bullet style? What were they on the ZA?
Look, can you see?
Oh, right, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah. I think they're. Trying to think they're Lucas, I think.
Yeah, they are the Lucas that are on now. So that's very exciting.
Yeah.
So I'll be taking those down to the garage today with my other bits and bobs, the fan belt and that kind of stuff. We're really getting to the end game
Tell
now.
you a bit of trivia about those Lucas side lights.
Yes, so I'm all up for side light trivia.
They were used on Cal Look Beetles in the late 60s, early 70s in California. So they're quite a cool lamp because they're quite shallow. You know, they're quite nice. A bit different than having like the mini ones, which are kind of, you know. But yeah, they're cool. Yeah, I like those. I like a bit. I like my lights. I do a lot of googling of lights, fog lights and things, just see if you can find a bargain. So
you're one of these people that has like a big stock in a room and you just open it and lights fall out. Yeah. Speaking of things that light up as well, the semaphores are finally working. So I'll show you a little video of that too, of the wings coming out. Which that was a pain actually. The original switch isn't working, and to fix it, you have to take the steering column out. So rather than do that, because obviously finance and knowledge and all that rest is, we're going to put a temporary switch just underneath, which is fully reversible. And then later on down the line, when I've got a bit more time, we'll get back to that one. So that's fun.
That's the only thing is somebody driving behind you today, they probably look at the car from behind and think, oh, what's that funny thing? And suddenly, bang,
it does
bang.
worry me. I'm not going to lie, that does worry me. So yeah, it's something to think about. But the fact they're working is good. And,
yeah, it's cool.
So have you anything to update on this week?
I had a brake light bulb go on my 24-volt wiring system on the car, on the Iltis, and the wipers started not to, that's wrong. They didn't work on one particular occasion, and I found out that the splines on one of the arms are actually sort of virtually smooth, with a lot of, shall we say, iron filings left in the place of the splines. So for the moment, I've got it clamped on with a bit of tin foil just to take up the pressure, but I'm going to need to source a wiper arm. But at some point, somebody's not tightened it up on the spline very well, on the spindle. So I've got to try and sort that out. But to be honest, I've been using Rain-X. So I took it out the other day and it did start raining. So the Rain-X on the windscreen just kind of like allows the water to disperse. It gives you quite a bit of time before it gets too silly. But it also, if your wipers are working, they don't want the pressure of the window friction on the arm. The Rain-X smooths that really well.
Oh, cool.
So today's vlog is sponsored by Rain-X.
Yeah, if you're watching.
It's pretty good actually. It lasts quite a while. You know, it's pretty good on any classic car actually. Any of those products that allow that sort of dispersal of water on all the windows. So it's pretty decent stuff really. So I quite like using it. So so there's a tip for you to save your wiper motor next time. So
Andy's top tips. Speaking of top tips, we have the last of our 3-part series with Alex Riley. I'm sure he's got some pearls of wisdom for us. So
when you said Alex Riley there, my daughter watches Glee, and I thought Amber Riley. No, we didn't have Amber Riley on here, and we didn't have Alex. What's that girl that does the one show? Alex, I don't know.
No, and on Glee, you're asking the wrong person because I'm not a parent just yet. So
the thing is, I keep trying to tune into Alex Riley, but everybody will know Alex Riley if you've not seen him before, and if you haven't watched the other 2 podcasts, because Alex Riley, we've got other 2 parts, haven't we, previously?
Yep.
And this is our final part, but Alex just seems to be a fountain of knowledge in terms of Leyland and trivia and stuff. So
and he's right in tune with us because he's a lover of the underdog as well, which I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with.
Yeah, I don't know much about underdogs, but yeah, our dog has got a little rash at the moment, so that's all I know about our underdog. But yeah, Alex just he just enthuses all that, and people forget about that, about some of these people that you see in the media, that they kind of, the passions run deep. And Alex's passion and also involvement with classics and cars in general, from Top Gear to the car years, is pretty cool. So bring on Alex Riley.
One week I'd be Tony Curtis. The next week I'd be Roger Moore. I like the leather driving gloves and the little sort of calf skin jackets that Danny had, and they both had neckerchiefs at different times. I love a neckerchief. That kind of aesthetic is, the south of France, solving crimes, meeting beautiful women, driving fancy cars, drinking fine wines. That's what it's about.
Tom, you're too young to remember the Persuaders anyway. I don't think.
By the way, when I watched it, it was repeated. I mean, I was too young really to watch it the first time. Surely, I mean, I was little at that point. But you've got to watch it, Tom. It's the greatest.
Yeah. It's on my. I will make a note of it and look for it on Netflix.
Best theme tune ever. John Barry.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Just love it. Yeah.
Although John Barry did a lot of James Bond music, obviously. I once had a 1985 Scirocco GL, and I drove up to Scotland in it. I drove up to Edinburgh in it, from Lancashire, and I just had on the tape player consistently the chase music from The Spy Who Loved Me, because I imagined that my Scirocco GL was a Lotus S3 in Monaco white, but it wasn't.
Well, when I was
that wasn't right, was it?
I used to have a I've still got it somewhere, a John Barry soundtrack CD. And when I was at Top Gear, one weekend, I had a Jaguar XK8 press car with a 6 CD auto changer. And I got in, popped John Barry on, set the trigger for Sheffield. And that drive, I was this international man of mystery, James Bond. I was going to some rendezvous. It was just, gosh, it was flipping fantastic, that. Lovely cars, by the way, XK8s, but they rust, don't they? They rust. But what a car. Oh, what a drive. Look it up, Tom. John Barry. John Barry. He's from Yorkshire, Yorkshireman. But he lived the 60s dream. He had the kind of architecturally designed 60s pad in Mayfair or somewhere. Living the dream.
Nice.
I went to see him at the Royal Albert Hall, full orchestra. Amazing.
Yeah, he was the opposite end of the spectrum to Ronnie Hazelhurst, wasn't he? There was Ronnie Hazelhurst on one end, and the other end was John Barry.
Jeff Love. John Barry. Head and shoulders. What I like to call the governor. John Barry, the governor of the soundtrack, I would say. Oh, yeah.
Let's not get started on Barry Gray.
Oh, Thunderbirds.
Yeah, UFO and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Tom, what do you drive to? Do you have you got any tunes of choice?
To be honest, no, because my radio didn't work in the last midget I had. So I just the sound of an overheating 1500 engine that was too big for the car, really. What
are the particular weaknesses of the 1500 engine in the midget Triumph engine? What's the, because it makes it faster than an MGB, doesn't it? I think on the plus side.
I think it did officially, although you wouldn't want to do that in a midget because if you value your life, it was scary. It was really scary getting up to anywhere near 70 onwards. Very, very noisy. But the main
70.
Yeah, true. The main, and also the speedo used to stick as well. So as you slowed down, it still stayed there for ages, and then it just dropped to zero. Oh, it's really scary.
Yes, officer.
The main disadvantage of that engine in that car was actually when it was stood still, because you couldn't bloody find anything, and once you did find it, you couldn't even get your hand down. And then when you did, you cut yourself on something else, so you just couldn't work on it because the engine was too big for the car. That was the main drawback I had with it. Other people might disagree, but I had a real pain in the backside time just getting to anything in there. It just crammed.
But I think you had it easy, Tom, because working on my 914, every time I had to do something, I had to pretty much drop the engine out of the whole car and slide it out. So you had it easy.
But you loved it. You loved doing that. That was your favourite thing. When I had to do that, it's like, oh, I need to put a spark plug in. You know what? I'll just drop the engine. I'll just drop it. And the washer fluid, the washer fluid's got empty. You know, I just drop the engine while I'm filling up the. You know, come on, you loved it, Andy.
I tell you, that Warburton's bread trolley is the best thing for that. The little brown plastic ones. It was.
Do they know you've got it? Do they know you've got it, Andy? Have you nicked it?
Still got it. Still got it. Yeah. So, oh well.
They're not watching. I hope Warburtons aren't watching because one of their trolleys is missing. How heavy is Warburton's bread? I mean, that's over-engineered, isn't it? If it can take the weight of a flat 4 VW engine, I mean, how much does Warburton's bread weigh?
It's like a tower.
It's actually the technical aspects of it are that it's molded plastic, but it's kind of it's almost tubular. There's trolley.
No, not the bread, Tom. No, the bread is bread. I think it is. Andy, I'm just checking. It is bread. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Are you dehydrated, Andy? He's drinking a lot, isn't he, Tom?
I was before, and then
every 5 seconds. What are you? Have you been eating something very salty for your tea, and now you've got to rehydrate?
Yeah, I had broccoli and chicken with a cheese sauce. I think there was a bit of salt in that sauce, to be honest. But there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No bread. No bread.
No bread. No bread.
Okay.
So
controversial. Potatoes would probably go better in some form. Potatoes with that.
Too starchy. Too starchy.
You're not dissing the potato on my watch, okay? Leave the potato out of this. You're cooking them wrong if they're too starchy.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, well, can't get the chef.
No.
Right.
Have we kept you too long, Alex?
What's that picture on the wall of your darkened room?
You can do it in an MG.
Okay,
it's a midget. That one is a timeline of MGs going from the TD down to the much loved MGF at the bottom. Is my favourite rubber bumper midget there. And then there's that's a McLaren M23 that my dad took, and there's various other bits and bobs knocking around somewhere.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yours, Andy, strangely blank. Strangely blank.
You're not going to get on book credibility this way, Andy.
Can you hear me all right? 1, 2. 1, 2.
Alex, have you got any thoughts about what's going to happen? I mean, it's quite topical. By the time somebody's watched this, it's probably going to be all over. But with this virus thing, have you got any thoughts on? To be honest, I don't really want to go too topical, but it's how are we going to get out of this in terms of classic cars and meeting up and this kind of thing? Have you got anything that you were going to go to, or something you enjoy going to this year that's now been cancelled? Because I know I look forward 12 months ahead to different VW shows, for example.
Well, I mean, I hope the NEC is still going to be. I mean, I would have probably gone to the restoration show at the NEC, which was cancelled in March. One of the first casualties. I'll be going in November to the NEC. I mean, the NEC is quite big. I mean, hopefully we won't need to keep too far apart by then. But I mean, most summer shows are obviously outdoors, aren't they? And, I think there's potential to make that safe outdoors, keeping 2 meters apart, not having as many cars perhaps, and trying to, I mean, it won't be the same, but I don't know. I think we're all hoping that we will be able to get back to what feels quite normal eventually, but whether or not that's next summer or later September, October of this year, who knows? But I went round to a mate's house last night, which had an MGB in the garage, and it was raining, so we sat at opposite ends of the garage chatting, and it was quite nice having the MGB there that he was prepping for sale. And that was a kind of a car. That was the nearest I've come to a car show. It wasn't that exciting because it was just an MGB, and great cars, but I think we've all seen quite a few MGBs at car shows. So I don't know. I think it's like thinking of a different way. Actually, isn't the London Concours happening soon?
Yeah.
And that's in like a garden square, I think, isn't it? In somewhere in London.
Yeah.
So if they think they can do that in a safe way, then maybe we can.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have to put ropes around everything, perhaps.
Probably.
Everybody has to go one way, and I don't know. And then you can have a trade stall with the hand sanitizer on it, can't you? And they can put some perspex. I mean, you can buy perspex at these things, can't you? So I mean, they could just rig that up. Come on.
Yeah, just use some
Let's
old.
get some masks. Let's get hazmat suits on and get out in the cars and go and see people.
Let's get hazmat suits on, drive Andy's Ultra Bants to it, and we'll pretend we're on Chernobyl, and we can all have a great time doing that.
What?
There
Wouldn't
you
that
go.
be?
I would. I'd go to that show.
But the irony is,
you could provide all the cars for it. The Iltis looks a bit sort of Cold War, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, probably border guard.
the irony is that the production of Chernobyl donated a lot of their hazmat suits to the to COVID-19 requirements. Apparently,
What, they were covered in radiation, and they sent them to the hospitals. That's not ethical. Oh my! You survived COVID, and then you've got flipping radiation poisoning.
I think if you watch Chernobyl,
Have we learned nothing from Chernobyl? Have we learned nothing?
If you kind of, when you go out to shows and stuff, do you like little cars and coffee meets, pub meets, or do you like going to the bigger shows? What kind of?
I've never been to a cars and coffee. Never been to one. I would
I
like.
Yeah, I suppose it's how you define it. I suppose it's how you define it. A lot of these cars and coffee things are really pretty much like a large car park with 50 cars based at a pub or whatever. Yeah, there's that kind of thing. But you've not been to anything like that, local pub where you might have 30 odd cars from local clubs or anything like that. It's not something you've partaken in.
I mean, part of it is the politics of like the family commitments. Oh, I'm just going to spend the weekend looking at cars and that, and not participating in family life. It's easier to say, oh, I've got to go to this show because it's like work, sort of workish. I'm networking. I've got to be seen to be involved in the world. So, but yes, I've got a mate. The mate with the MGB in his garage. He's always got something in the garage. He sort of like buys and sells and various things, and he goes occasionally. So, I probably will go with him at some point when it all starts over again. But I like a show. I like there to be a few stalls because I want to find old car magazines. I like buying books and magazines. So I always like a show that's got some reasonably priced magazines and books because I'm addicted to them. So that's always good. And, somewhere where the tools and bits are sort of like reasonably cheap, and you can, I like a place where you can get a load of rubber seals like that. Various. I'm always thinking, that might be quite good for the door, reduce wind noise and stuff like that. And I also I like it, if you can, I love Jensen Interceptors, and I went to a show at Tatton Park last year or something, or the year before, and finally got to sit in a Jensen Interceptor. So I like it when, you can have a laugh with the people and you can interact. And that's obviously difficult under the present circumstances. Nobody's going to let you in their car, are they? Because you could give them a disease. But by the way, I do fit an Interceptor. So it was a massive relief to know that one day I could potentially have an Interceptor. What kind of shows do you guys like going to?
Precisely the ones you said that you haven't been going to very much is the cars and coffee type thing. It's really good, and just for general chatting, really, because I'm one of those people that they'll just go up to a car I like and then chew the poor guy's ear off until it's time to go home. And I love hearing stories. So when we're talking before about anything with a story, to me that's almost as interesting as the car, if sometimes more so actually, where you just get a bloody good story and just learn a bit of social history by listening to somebody as well. I'd find that really enjoyable, a lot more than walking around a show looking at £500,000 cars you'll never get to touch, yet alone own. I just love seeing everyday cars that your granddad would have driven around in and hearing about them. That's definitely what does it for me.
Yeah, no, Once you start chatting to people, that's when it starts to. I mean, that's the trouble at the NEC. I'm always chatting and asking people the most kind of obscure questions about things and getting really into it. And I'm thinking, there's about 4 halls I've not even been in, and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I've not eaten anything. And so, I love that kind of thing. And Cars and Coffee sounds absolutely perfectly right up my street. It's just something I've not had the opportunity to go to yet. But
yeah, like you
I'll
said,
go.
though, weekends are sort of premium time, aren't they, for other stuff? So, and
Well, that's the trouble.
Yeah.
So I tend to go if I go to the NEC, it's usually like a Friday, like on a work day sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I did go through a phase of sort of trying to take the whole family with me to the car show. I was partially successful, but not totally successful.
I think my observation on it is the fact that you tend these days, I think, more and more to get, rather than specific car clubs like an MG car club or Morris Minor club meeting together as one group for one mark, things like these cars and coffee events and pub meets, they tend to be, multi-denominational in terms of the cars you get there. So you do get that, a lot of that difference, which is more interesting at those meetings. And I think when you go to the big shows like at Tatton Park or the big shows that there are in the country, the NEC, you get these clubs that are kind of hell-bent on just being a club for the weekend, and that's what they'll do. We are this club, this is us, this is our identity, rather than having that gregarious kind of cross-pollination of conversations, really. And I think that's the slight difference, I think, which I like about the Cars and Coffee style meets, I suppose.
Yeah.
So,
I think. Sorry, go on, Andy.
I think that seems to be the way it's going, and that might be beneficial because as things change and different cars fall out of fashion, the hobby kind of keeps going based on the love of the escapism that cars give and the different variety of vehicles rather than specific marks, and perhaps that's more solid for a way forward, maybe. So it's my take.
But but then again, you sort of, if you want to see something particularly rare and you want to see the best Chevette HSR in the world, and you want to meet somebody who's really knows a lot about it, then it's the NEC's quite, that sort of show is really good. Or, some of the Alvis, special-bodied Alvises and things, I absolutely love those. And just being able to go and see them and chat to people. And I think, I think you've just got to go to a variety of different kinds of shows, haven't you? Because, you're going to see something unusual and interesting. And one thing that's quite good about those Cars and Coffee things is that you've got, it's not like a classic show or a modern show. It's a kind of a mixture of everything. People just bring along stuff that is interesting. And, you see things you're not expecting. I mean, for me, the shows where it's all the same kind of MGs and Triumphs and Minis and things, it can be a bit kind of, what else is there? Or if there is one MGB there that's kind of a slightly unusual one or something, that when it's in a mixture of other stuff, it kind of stands out more in a way, and it becomes more interesting. So, I think you've just got to be have an eclectic sort of approach to it, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's like my thing isn't speed. My thing is all about design. I think that's what grabs me, and it makes me cold when I see people with Lamborghini they just bought yesterday, rather than something which there's an appreciation of design, and that's just me. But everybody's different and looking for those different things. And there's a lot of people. I'm not really heavily into restoration, but there are people out there that will spend 10 years doing a restoration and then sell the car the first day it's finished and then move on to the next one. And there's different things.
Yeah, there is something. I was thinking about this the other day. There is something to be, there is a satisfaction from taking something that is broken and in a terrible state and then slowly bringing it back to something beautiful and attractive and using your creativity and your skills and putting all that together. And then you want another project, you want to do it again. I imagine it is an addictive feeling to do that. So I don't condemn people for that kind of thing. It always breaks my heart when I hear that people buy something because they want to take it to local shows. It's sort of like, oh, so you'll drive, you daren't drive it more than about 10 miles, and you're kind of in a complete panic the whole time because you never go above 40 miles an hour, and it feels all horrible to drive because it never does any actual proper work. And then, you show it, you get your deck chair out, and, you're hoping somebody's going to come and tell you what an amazing car it is. But it's just, are you actually getting any satisfaction from the sort of driving of it? I mean, my TR7, when I got it, it was like my only car. So I really drove it everywhere. And the kind of, it felt fantastic because it was always being serviced or driven. And anything that needed doing had to be done because it just, because it felt like it wasn't quite right. So it just was a great, and because it was my only car, if it needed doing, I would spend the money on it because I needed it and it was justifiable. If I'd have had it just as a thing in the garage, just sort of slowly deteriorating and spending a fortune on it every so many years because it was, and then never getting any fun out of it apart from parking it in a field, and that for me just sort of leaves me cold, to be honest.
I agree with that. So my midget was my daily driver, and when the Magnette's done, hopefully soon, that's probably going to be as often used as I possibly can as well, because like you said, they're there to be enjoyed and have fun with, and make people smile as you drive past them, make yourself smile as you're driving it. That's the whole point, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, and the more you drive them, the better they get, really. I mean, that's the thing people don't realise is, I mean, I used to just jump in it, and I lived in London, I drove to the Lake District in it, and, through London traffic and all the way up there and all the way around the lakes and then back again. And some people are like, oh, well, we live 50 miles away from the show and we were really worried it wasn't going to make it and all that. And you think, well, okay, we've all been in that situation where we're a bit, oh dear. But if that's the sum total of your ambition, then that seems like you're missing out. It's more fun if you do, go away in it for a couple of days, go and do something, use it as a car and see what happens. Yeah,
and the worst thing that's ever going to happen is you're going to get stuck for a bit, and then you'll either fix it or get rescued and start again, and it'll be fine.
Well, you join a breakdown club.
There's a novel idea.
They'll come and sort it out, and if they can't sort it out, they'll take it somewhere to be repaired, and there you go. But you'll start to work out how to make it more reliable. Some cars just never quite achieved that status, but the TR7 has been very, very reliable. So and it's been great. Having said that, I've not been in it for over a year now, so even though I've riveted on this thing the other day,
you need to go and test that.
Well, the door glass has been rattling for years. I couldn't work out why, and this thing was loose, and then I finally plonked it in correctly, and it transformed it, and then it flew out because it wasn't attached to the metal. Anyway, I've flipping got that on. Now I'm redoing the rubber seal from the window onto the door and trying to cut the rubber around because I did it once before and made a horrible job of it. It's bothered me for about 10 years. So I'm trying to do it really well this time, and I've even made myself a tool to pull the clips on through the door. That is impressive. Oh!
See, there's that feeling again, that fuzzy feeling of doing a job.
Yeah, and finally doing it right rather than the first time you did it.
I'd have never done it. I'd have wound the window down and forgotten about it and just driven with an open window for eternity if that would have been my rattling glass, and I'd never have got around to fixing it.
I worry about you, Tom.
Yeah, you're right too.
I don't need a window. I'll just get rid of smash it. Get rid of the window. Yeah, probably the window open probably would be a bit even noisier than a slight rattle in the window.
I hadn't considered that.
And draftier and wetter.
Yeah.
I'm worried about you.
Well, I've had to fix the Iltis on the road this last week. Just doing some small drives with the family in the warm evenings. I've only got two I've only got 2 of the 4 doors on it at the moment, so it's nice and drafty, you know, when it's really warm. But it's got the till kit from the German army that's still in it. But I've used it twice this week. The speedo cable detached itself, and one of the wiper arms came off the spindle. So I've done that by the roadside this week. But I think that's the ultimate. You mentioned about making tools. I think that's the ultimate, isn't it? When you start getting hands-on with things, is the moment you start making tools. It's just like when the apes started making tools to kind of, you know, it's like, you know, 2001, isn't it? The moment you bend the end of the screwdriver to make something, to pull off something. That's like the ape in 2001 throwing that bone up in the air, whatever it was. Yeah, it's the same thing.
There's no limit to what we can achieve.
But that's the ultimate. That's it.
Well,
That's something like.
First time I've ever done it. First time I've ever done it, but it's not going to be the last if it works. It fits down. I just cut. It was a bit from a bike, and I cut the end off so it would fit down, and then I chiseled a lump out of it so it was flat and it had a bend in it, and it should work. It should work. I'll report back.
Please report back.
Oh, yeah. That's worth it, definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, are we done then?
Yeah.
We done?
So I've kept you for precisely an hour longer than I said I would. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, let's face it. I'm not getting many offers at the moment. I'm locked down. What was I going to do this evening? Just, put the kids to bed and watch telly.